My son, I'm the reason behind your failure in life. Please forgive me.
In a quiet compound at the edge of town, joy filled the air. Chinedu was coming home. After years of struggle at the University of Lagos, he had finally graduated with a first-class degree. Not just ordinary first class, the kind that made lecturers shake your hand twice. His parents stood at the gate waiting, smiling like people whose prayers had finally been answered. "See my son," his mother shouted as she hugged him tight. "First-class graduate." Neighbors gathered, some clapped, some nodded with respect. Chinedu smiled, tired but hopeful. He had suffered for this. During school, he didn't have money like others. He sold recharge cards, fixed phones, did small graphic design jobs, even worked at a cyber cafe at night. Sometimes he would sleep just 3 hours, but he kept telling himself, once I graduate, everything would change. That belief kept him moving. Now, standing in front of his family house again, he truly believed his life was about to start. He didn't know it was just the beginning of something darker. At first, everything looked normal. Chinedu printed his CV sharp and clean. He applied to companies, big ones, small ones, anywhere that had an opening. Oil companies, banks, tech firms. Every morning he would wake early, dress well, and step out with confidence. Today fit be the day, he would tell himself. At first, he was excited, his parents too. "My son is going places," his father would say proudly. But something strange started happening. Each time he went for an interview, everything would go well, very well. Panel members would smile, some would even say things like, "You are very brilliant, we like your confidence, we will get back to you." But they never did. Days turned to weeks, weeks turned to months. Nothing, no offer, no callback, just silence. After 1 year, people began to talk. "You say he get first class, then why he never get job? Maybe na book he sabi, not real life." Chinedu heard the whispers. Even some of his old classmates, people he knew were not as strong academically, started posting their success online. Just resumed work at. Grateful for this opportunity, each post felt like a knife. He kept going for interviews, still nothing. 2 years passed, then 3. At 32, Chinedu was still in his parents' house. No job, no money, no relationship, just hope, slowly dying. Depression entered quietly. He stopped smiling, stopped going out. Sometimes he would just sit and stare at the wall for hours. Through it all, one person never stopped encouraging him, his mother. "Chinedu, don't worry," she would say softly. "God's time is the best." She would sit beside him, rub his back, and pray for him. "My son will be great, I know it." Her voice was always calm, always sure, and Chinedu believed her. After all, she was his mother. She loved him, or so he thought. When things refused to change, Chinedu began to look for answers. He went to churches, different ones. Some pastors prayed for him, some gave him holy water, some told him to sow seeds. Still, nothing changed. Then he tried spiritual houses, native doctors, prayer mountains, night vigils. He did everything they told him, but instead of getting better, things got worse. Rejections became faster. Sometimes he wouldn't even pass the first stage of interviews. It was like something was blocking him, something he could not see. One hot afternoon, Chinedu left another field interview. He didn't even feel pain again. He was just empty. As he walked down the dusty road, lost in thought, a madman called him. "Oga, abeg help me o." Chinedu turned. The man looked dirty, rough, and unstable. People avoided him, but Chinedu stopped. He checked his pocket. He had only 1,000 naira left. That money was meant for his transport back home. He paused for a moment, then brought out 500 naira. "Take," he said gently. The madman collected it, then looked straight into his eyes. And suddenly, his face changed. His voice became calm, sharp, different. Chinedu. Chinedu froze. He didn't remember telling this man his name. How you take know my name? He asked, confused. The man smiled slightly. Because I see you. A cold breeze seemed to pass through Chinedu's body. The madman stepped closer. Your problem no be ordinary. Chinedu's heart began to beat faster. You don't try everything, but nothing they work. Chinedu couldn't speak. How? How you know? He whispered. The man's eyes became intense. Because the person will tie your destiny, they inside your house. Chinedu frowned. I don't understand. The man leaned closer and said quietly, Na your mother. Chinedu stepped back immediately. No, that one no possible, he said quickly. That's my mother. The man didn't argue. He just started speaking. Slowly, carefully, he began to describe things, deep things, things nobody else knew. The struggles, the failed interviews, the sleepless nights, even the silent tears Chinedu cried when nobody was watching. Then he said something that broke him. Sometimes, you dey feel say make you just disappear. Tears filled Chinedu's eyes. That was true, very true. He never told anyone that. The madman continued. Every time you near breakthrough, something will block him. Chinedu dropped to his knees. Everything the man was saying was his life. Exactly. At that moment, doubt entered his heart. What if what this man is saying is true? The madman bent down and whispered, If you want to be free, I go tell you what to do. Chinedu looked up shaking. What? What should I do? The man looked around carefully, then began to speak in a low voice. And what he told Chinedu that day would change his life forever. The madman's voice became even lower, almost like a whisper carried by the wind. What I go tell you now, no easy, he said, but na the only way. Chinedu swallowed hard. His throat was dry. I'm ready, he replied. The man looked straight into his eyes, as if searching his soul. Go home. No talk to anybody, not even your mother. Chinedu nodded slowly. Midnight, when everybody don't sleep, you go take white cloth and tie your head. Pray with all your heart. Call God with anger, with pain. Tell him say you don't suffer enough. Chinedu listened carefully, his heart pounding. Then the man continued, you go call your mother name 3 times, loud. If she answer, no respond, just keep praying. A chill ran down Chinedu's spine. What will happen? He asked. The man paused. The truth could show itself. Chinedu hesitated. Fear started creeping into his chest. And after that, the madman's face hardened. You must not be afraid. No matter what you see, no matter what you hear, silence fell between them. Then the man added one last thing. If you stop halfway, everything could become worse. Chinedu nodded again, though his hands were shaking. When he looked up to ask another question, the madman was gone, just like that, as if he was never there. That night, Chinedu couldn't eat. His mother noticed. My son, you are not okay, she said, touching his shoulder. He forced a weak smile. I'm fine, Mama. She looked at him for a moment, then nodded. Remember, God's time is the best. Those words usually give him comfort. But that night, they sounded different, heavy, suspicious. He quickly looked away. Midnight came slowly. The whole house was quiet. Chinedu sat on his bed, holding the white cloth. His heart was beating so loud he was sure someone would hear it. This thing fit be mistake, he whispered to himself. But then he remembered everything. The years of rejection, the pain, the shame, the mocking voices. He closed his eyes. No, I must try. He tied the white cloth around his head, knelt down, and began to pray. At first, his voice was low. God, please. But then something inside him broke. God, I don't suffer. Tears rushed down his face. Why nothing they work for me? His voice filled the room. All the pain he had been carrying for years came out at once. He prayed like a man fighting for his life. Then slowly he stood up. It was time. His body trembled. He opened his mouth. "Mama." Silence. He swallowed. "Mama." The air suddenly felt colder. His heart skipped. "Mama." Then it happened. From the next room, a voice answered. "Yes, Chinedu." He froze. That was his mother's voice, but something about it was wrong. It sounded distant, almost hollow. Fear gripped him. Every part of his body wanted to run, but he remembered the warning, "Don't respond." So he kept quiet and continued praying. The voice came again. "Chinedu, why you call me?" This time, it sounded closer, like it was inside his room. His legs began to shake badly. Sweat covered his face. Still, he said nothing. He just prayed harder. Suddenly, a loud bang hit his door. Bam! Chinedu almost screamed. Another bang. Bam! Bam! "Open this door!" The voice was no longer normal. It was deep, angry, not his mother's voice anymore. Chinedu fell to the ground, shaking violently, but he didn't stop praying. Tears, sweat, fear, everything mixed together. The door handle began to shake violently. "You think you can escape me?" the voice roared. Chinedu covered his ears, but still kept praying. "God, please save me." Then, suddenly, silence. Everything stopped. No sound, no movement, just quiet. Chinedu stayed there, breathing heavily. Minutes passed. Nothing happened. Slowly, he removed his hands from his ears. Still quiet. He didn't sleep that night. The next morning, something was wrong. Very wrong. His mother didn't come out of her room. That was unusual. She always woke up early. Chinedu's father knocked on her door. No answer. Again, nothing. Finally, they forced the door open. What they saw shocked them. She was on the bed, her body stiff, her mouth slightly open. She couldn't move. She couldn't speak properly. "Stroke!" someone shouted. Panic filled the house. Neighbors rushed in. They carried her to the hospital. Chinedu followed, silent. His mind was racing. Is this connected? At the hospital, hours passed. Doctors tried their best. Later that evening, she opened her eyes. Chinedu stood beside her bed. She looked at him, but this time her eyes were different, filled with fear and something else, guilt. Her lips moved slowly. Chinedu. He leaned closer. "Mama, I'm here." Tears rolled down her face. Then she whispered something that froze his blood. "I did it." Chinedu frowned. "Did what?" Her breathing became heavy. "I stopped you." His heart began to pound. "Mama, what are you saying?" She cried harder. "I didn't want you to leave me." Chinedu stepped back slowly. "I used power to tie your destiny." The room spun. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. No, Mama." But she continued. "I am a witch." Those words hit him like thunder. "I held you back every time you tried to rise." Chinedu's legs became weak. Tears filled his eyes. "Why?" he whispered. She looked at him with pain. "Fear. I didn't want to be alone." Silence filled the room. Heavy, painful, real. That night, she didn't survive. Her body gave up, just like that. Gone. Chinedu stood there, numb. He didn't know whether to cry or scream. The woman who prayed for him was the same person holding him down. The truth was too heavy. Days passed. Slowly, life began to move again. But something had changed. Inside him, he felt lighter, like a weight had been removed. Weeks later, his phone rang. Unknown number. He picked it. Hello? Is this Chinedu? Yes. This is from NNPC. You were shortlisted for a position. His heart skipped. We would like you to resume next week. Chinedu couldn't speak. Tears filled his eyes. After all these years, it finally happened. Everything changed fast. Job, good salary, official car, company house, respect returned. People who once mocked him now greeted him with smiles. Chinedu, our pride. But he knew the truth. Not everything that looks like love is truly love. Sometimes the battle is not outside. Sometimes it is right inside your home. And from that day on, Chinedu never forgot one lesson. Not every prayer is pure, and not every enemy is far away.